Welcome, everyone. My name is Tucked in Tarot, and this class is called Sensory Sorcery Engaging the Senses in Tarot. The inspiration behind this course came from my own study and practice of tarot, and then as I progressed and started working with students, the same concern keeps coming up. How do I trust my intuition? How do I trust the messages that are coming through? And I firmly believe that utilizing your senses, your sense of taste, your touch, your sense of smell and feeling and sight are going to help to guide you. Those are your tangible tools that you can then apply to your metaphysical, spiritual, or tarot practice. Okay, so this course is all about how to incorporate those five senses to help you with being a more skilled and comfortable and fluid reader. Now, in today's lesson, we are going to touch on the sense of sight, since that it tends to be the very first sense that we use whenever we first pick up our tarot or even oracle cards. This also works really, really well with those as well. And we will also go ahead and take a look at the sense of touch in tarot. All right. Now, if once we go through these senses, if you are interested and you're wanting to learn how to incorporate smell, sound, taste in your tarot readings, I do offer private sessions that you can book with me through my website, and I will have all of my contact information available at the end of the presentation. But yeah, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get started. So the very first thing I want us to keep in mind whenever we are using our senses, or even if you are just reading tarot or doing really anything that you are passionate about, you want to have a childlike wonder, okay? Have a sense of play whenever you're doing these things. Because approaching tarot with a childlike sense of wonder is going to encourage the exploration of all of those possibilities. Okay. It's going to help you with embracing all of the symbolism. It's going to help your intuition. And essentially, what you're doing is you're utilizing your imagination. When you were a child, you really didn't question what was pretend. You didn't, if you believed that you were a princess for 45 minutes while you were playing, that was true to you. You can still apply that same practice as an adult into your spiritual practice and into your tarot readings. You want to have fun, and it's also going to help to take a lot of the pressure off of, is this right or is this incorrect? You will just be in the moment, and that is one really important thing to remember whenever we are reading tarot, whether it be for ourselves or for other people. Okay. Now, with the sense of sight, we're going to go ahead and move right on in. So, in the practice of tarot readings, you're going to explore the symbolism of each card. Okay. The goal is to become immersed in the experience. You want to become immersed in the environment. So, once you have a visual of the card, you are then going to use the third eye or the mind's eye or that intuitive sense to put yourself directly in the environment, and you're going to want to practice being able to scan the scene, the layout, the landscape of whatever is being depicted in that image on your tarot. Okay. Now, a couple things to look at whenever you first look at a card is you're going to want to look at your figures and your focal points. That's going to be your starting point. That's going to be your gateway. So with your figures and focal points, it's going to encourage you to just look a little bit deeper, maybe ask more questions about why certain things are sticking out to you within the card. Especially if you're doing a single card pull, or if you like doing really large spreads or anything in between, focus on maybe one, two, or even three things within that card that jump out at you. And then that's going to help you with interpreting those messages. And we will practice and play with that towards the end of the presentation. But that is something I definitely want you all to keep in mind. All right. Now, whenever you are expanding the card's world, so this is going to happen through your intuition, through your imagination. Okay, this is when you're going to then step into the world of that tarot card. You're actually going to go outside of the borders of those four corners of that tarot card. And that's when you're going to start using your imagination to interact with the landscape or some of those objects, some of those symbols to see what is coming up for you. This is where trusting the imagery, the messages, the sounds, the senses, the taste, everything that's coming to you, that is when trust and being able to just relax is really going to kick in. And the more that you practice this, the easier it becomes. All right. So, what you're going to want to do whenever you're using sight in your tarot, and especially if this is going to be one of the very first senses that you're going to play with when it comes to your intuition, I do recommend working in layers. Don't try to do everything all at once. And again, we're going to go with what I call my rule of three, where we are going to look at either background imagery, so what is taking place in the landscape that can help you with setting the tone and the context of the card's meaning. Okay, so take a look at patterns, symbols, colors, whatever is catching your eye in the background. The background can also let you know that maybe what's at play that we are maybe not privy to, or if there's something that's really jumping out at you, maybe there is something that you need to address in your physical environment, in your reality, whether it is affecting your job, your home, relationships, or anything that you are pulling for. What is currently surrounding you that might need to be cared for, something that might need to be removed, or maybe something that we might need to support and allow to help us. All right. So next, you're going to pick out a surrounding element. So you're going to pay attention to any of the animals, any plants, objects, people, or figures in the card tend to be the main thing that people tend to gravitate to. There seems to be some relatability to some of the figures in the cards, especially if you grab like if a court card comes out for you, or if you get a major arcana card like the Emperor or the Justice card. Okay, you want to take note of those, and then how are they actually interacting with the background or any other elements in that card. Third, you're going to pick a secondary symbol. Okay, what is that third thing that is jumping out at you? All right, so secondary symbols can help you with understanding the hidden meaning of messages. It can help you with understanding maybe the motivation of the figure that you are relating to or that you see yourself in. Okay, all right. So next we're going to take a look at the sense of touch in tarot. And I know it sounds kind of weird because you're looking at a cardstock with an image on it. You're just like, how do I incorporate touch? Again, that's where that imagination is going to come into play. That's when you're going to have to recall what physical things feel like. And if you can put your imagination back in and hold on to some of these objects, being able to reach out and touch things. What does the wind feel like on your skin? Keep those sensations, keep those reminders up front. Okay. Now, when it comes to touch or examining touch or feeling in your tarot reading, that's going to allow you to explore the depth and the significance of any situation. Okay? It's going to help you with connecting to your reading, connecting to your card, connecting even to your querent if you're reading for someone else. Now, touch can represent a few of what I'm going to introduce you to today, but it is not the end all be all. If touch or sight or smell or sense of taste, if you find another correspondence that works for you, go with that. But this is just a blueprint. It is just a guide, so make it your own. Now, the way how I incorporate touch in my tarot readings, we have understanding emotional depth. So with touch sensation, it can convey emotional intensity of any situation. So it can help you with understanding how you're feeling or your querents, how they're feeling, and maybe giving them a little bit more insight on their situation. It can also indicate sensory desires. So, what are they wanting? What are you wanting? This I find to be really helpful, especially since some of us can tend to downplay what it is that we do require. And tarot can be a little yelly sometimes and put it in your face, going, hey, this is really what you are wanting. This is really what you are asking for. And it's a really nice reminder. The third thing, especially if you are connecting to a figure in a card, it can represent physical and mental exhaustion. And on the opposite end of that, it can actually represent being physically or mentally energized. Okay, so pay attention to what it feels like with that card. Does that figure look or feel, or do you get the sense that they are weary and tired and maybe need a nap? Or if you, let's say, pull a Four of Swords, which usually indicates rest, does it feel like that person is starting to wake up? Do you feel them maybe rising out of bed? Do you feel them maybe stretching? What are you picking up physically from that? And then next, we're looking at guidance for action. So touch or feeling in a tarot can let you know what the next steps are. So you want to use some of those tactile sensations as clues to direct you on what the next steps are. So let's say, for instance, we are looking at the Two of Wands in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. That figure is standing there and he is holding a wooden rod or a wooden dowel. If you were to put yourself in that figure's position and you're holding on to that dowel rod, what sensation do you immediately get? Is it smooth? Is it well crafted? Is it sturdy? That might indicate that those actions or the things that you are planning are well thought out. They were well cared for. They are good to go and they will be long lasting. On the other end, does it feel rough to the touch? Are there splinters? Does it need to be sanded? Are there maybe some final steps of like sanding and priming and painting that wooden rod needs? Maybe there are some additional steps that we need to take care of. Okay, do hope that makes sense. But we'll go ahead and keep moving on because we are now going to move into direction, which I absolutely love with tarot, and especially if I'm doing more of this immersive technique, when it comes to playing with my intuition and doing readings. Now, for me, the way how I set up my correspondences with direction and tarot, I do link them to the four suits. If you are not familiar with the four suits in tarot, I'll go ahead and just give you a very quick breakdown in case you want to go ahead and write this down. So we have the suit of swords, we have the suit of cups, we have the suit of wands, and then we have the suit of pentacles. Okay? Now, with the suit of swords, so we're going to start back at that one. The suit of swords, I correspond with due north. Okay? Very tip top. So with that suit, that is going to be linked to our thoughts and our communication. Okay. So if your figure is maybe facing forward, how are we thinking about the situation? How are we communicating our needs or our plans or our thoughts? Okay? Within the suit of swords too, you also are going to have intelligence. What are we learning? What are we retaining? Or what is it that we need to do a bit more research on? And then next we also have our logic. So, practicality, a little bit of common sense, problem solving. How are we moving through those? Okay, next we are going to have East. East, for me, is represented by the suit of cups. Within that suit, we are looking at things like your emotions. Okay, so what is the depth of your emotional experience? What is something that we need to address? Do we need to maybe have an emotional purge? Do we need to have a good cry? Do we maybe need to celebrate ourselves a bit more and just bask in being joyful and having pride and just feeling really good and accomplished? Okay? What are our emotional needs telling us? Next, we're going to be looking at passion. So, with passion and it being connected to the cups, this is your fire of desire. This is your motivation. It's your enthusiasm. So, let's take a look at that. Next, with cups or east, we also have your spiritual side. We have our intuition, which is something that we are working on today. So, what are you intuitively getting? Do you feel connected to spirit, to source, to yourself? And are you listening to those messages? Okay. Are you seeking answers? And how are your messages coming through? So this can actually be really great too if you are someone who is trying to figure out what signs or symbols you are looking for to have confirmation, right? Because you want those to be as personal as possible. So maybe when you're pulling your tarot card, you go, hey, spirit, source, whatever deity that you work with, I really resonate, let's say, with blue roses. Okay, show me a blue rose, and that'll let me know that that is a yes to the situation, or I am moving in the right direction. And let's say you go and pick up a new oracle deck on a whim, and you do a shuffle and you pick out a card, and then there's that blue rose. You now have set a uh, a way of communicating. Okay, a way of connecting. So that can be a really great way to include that. And then we'll also play with direction and what it might mean for you in your readings. Now, you also have the metaphysical as well. So maybe you might get a clue as to maybe what needs to be incorporated into your practice as well, or what may strengthen or benefit your belief system as long as it is safe and healthy. Okay. Next, we also have south, the direction of south. South is going to be linked to wands. Wands are all about action, physical action. We also have passion here as well. So again, it's the intense desire and ambition. But with this passion, this is what is physically getting you up to move. What is getting you to not be stagnant? What has got your feet running to go and accomplish the next thing? Okay? Following that, we also have sexual energy or desire. So this is the physical expression of the in in its most sensual way and your most intimate connections. This can usually come up a lot, especially with more romantic readings, which tend to be everyone's favorite for the most part. But that can also be letting you know that maybe we need to have some focus and attention there. And then we also have our willpower. What where are we finding encouragement, especially when we are really, really going through it? So let's say your querent is maybe facing due north, and then you feel like you need to turn and look behind you. That's indicating that your thoughts are now giving you the encouragement to make some action, to make some changes, to be a bit more determined, and to follow through. Wands or facing south can indicate that you need to follow through, stay the course. Even when things get rocky, even when you are uncertain, do maybe those small things to help you stay on the path and to keep you motivated. Okay, so next we are going to look at West, and West is going to be associated with our Pentacles. So with Pentacles, this is all about your money, your finances, your wealth, your prosperity. It is going to be anything that can be related to any concerns or opportunities involving finances. Okay. Pentacles also are linked to your home. All right. And home can be wherever you are the most comfortable. It can also be family or your domestic life. All right. And then next, with Pentacles or West, the direction of West, we have our outcomes. Okay. After you have thought everything out, you've gone through the emotions, you've applied the action, what result can you expect? What result have you worked for? Okay. And once you kind of know what result you're leaning towards, this can actually help you with kind of pivoting certain things. It can help you with refining certain actions or thoughts or plans, or maybe engaging with more people. That is going to be really, really important. And also, I will give you this a side note. I also too believe that with tarot, the answers or the readings are not set in stone. It is simply a snapshot of where you are. So if there's something that comes up, especially if you are pulling for an outcome, and the direction of West or a Pentacle comes out, and you're just like, I really don't like that result, you then have the ability of asking yourself, asking your guides, asking your deck of cards, what can I do to maybe tweak this? What lesson am I missing? Or what do I need to be able to apply to get a better result? And then you can continue to move forward. And then lastly, with the Pentacles, it is all about balance. So the Pentacles will have all of those suits or all of the thoughts, emotions, and actions working together to maintain your balance. How well are they functioning together? Do we need a little bit less thought and maybe more action? Do we need a little to feel a little bit more and then think about our plans? What do we need to make sure we are balanced and good and solid? Okay. All right. Now, what we'll do, we do have a practical application. So if you would like to go ahead and grab a deck of cards or a tarot deck, an oracle deck, we'll do a really quick practice on how you can start playing with some of these these ideas. So go ahead and shuffle your deck. Think about a question or a situation that you would like a bit more clarity on. You want to get some answers on. Okay? Pick one card, one singular card. And then I want you to work in layers. Go ahead and take a look at the background. Figure out what that secondary element is. What's the second thing that pulls your attention? And then what is the third thing in that card that pulls your attention? If you need to, write these down. Write them down. All right. Once you have that, ask yourself for each one of those items, what does this mean to me? What feeling, what sensation, what phrase, word, or song comes to mind for each one of those pieces that I have pulled out? Once you have that, write a very simple statement or sentence or phrase, what have you, of all three of those symbols, and then that is your initial message. Okay? Once you have that message, and let's say you're like, I need a clarifier. I'm really not sure what that is, or I really have maybe one more question I would like to ask. Instead of immediately going and grabbing another card, sit with that card and then close your eyes and imagine yourself in the space of that card. Imagine yourself either in the room, in the outdoor environment, and interacting with some of those elements that you picked out. Okay? The first thing I want you to do is whenever you close your eyes and you can feel yourself in that environment, whatever is directly in front of you is your north. Okay? You don't need a compass. You don't need to know which way the sun is setting or rising because this is your own world. This is your intuitive world. Whatever's in front of you is north. So let's say you are needing a bit more information on the next step. What is something that I need to lean on or that is benefiting me in some way? Which direction is going to benefit me? And let's say you're facing north and you're like, okay, that is my thought, is my communication, that's my starting point, that seems good. Okay, what else do I need to look at? And let's say you shift to the right. Remember, the right is going to be east, which are your cups, and that is based into your emotions or your spiritual or metaphysical practice. So if you're going from, let's say, due north, which is all about thought, logic, communication, and intelligence, and you feel your head moving to the right, or you feel your whole body shift, or your focus and attention shifts to the right, then that may be indicating that you need to have a bit more emotion. You need to be able to feel more. Maybe there's something that you need to get off of your chest that has been emotionally draining you. Okay? Or maybe we need to embrace the celebration of having a really clear cut plan that just was chef's kiss. Okay? Same thing with the pentacles to your left or the wands that are behind you. Okay? And make sure you're jotting these things down. Really write it and see what comes to mind. And if any other visuals come to you, trust it. Go with it. Write it down, jot it down, and then ask yourself what those mean to you. Okay? A few other things that you can look at to help you with these practices, especially when it comes to sight and touch, we have a few more practical applications that you can apply. If you would like this list, because I know with it being online, it can get a little tricky and there is a bit to write, feel free to send me an email or get in contact with me. And you can do so through any of my social medias that are available and also my shop. I am incredibly responsive, so if you need me to send you the list, I have no problem in doing so. So please do not hesitate. But with the visual storytelling, and getting a bit more immersed into the scene of your tarot card, you can do what we just did, the comprehensive observation. So that's going to be looking at the whole tarot card, understanding the symbols, the characters, and colors, and then stepping in to the set, stepping in to the landscape. You also are going to have your elemental analysis. So if you are someone who really likes to work really deeply with the suits of the tarot, um, look for those elements in every single one of the cards because they are there for the most part. So if you are someone who likes to work with earth, air, fire, and water, which, oh, let me back up. I will can also tell you which suits those are linked to. So earth would be linked to your pentacles. Air is going to be linked to your swords. Fire is linked to your wands, and then water is going to be linked to your cups. So if you are unfamiliar with the suits and the elements, that was a really very, very, very brief crash course. But you can play with some of those. You can look for some of those and see just how balanced. So let's say if you're looking at the imagery or you are immersed in that imagination and that intuitive practice where you are in that landscape and you're like, okay, I see earth. Okay, I see a stream of water. I can feel the breeze, but there's no fire. Where's that flame? you might need to go back and look at some of your actions. You may need to actually get up and move. Okay? Look for things that are really standing out. Or, hey, are you surrounded by nothing but rocks and mountain and there's no earth there, or not earth, there's no water, there's no fire, there's nothing else? Maybe we're too stagnant. Maybe we feel a little bit blocked in because we are just leaning on slow moving energy with that earth element. Okay, I hope that makes sense. You also are going to have your interactive elements there, and then narrative, connection, and personal reflection. So create a story, like connecting with those elements and in the directions. Play with the cards, even if you don't have a question. Look at the image and then do what you did as a child and just imagine what it would be like to be in that scenario. Where would you go? What would you do? What are you looking at? And just play. No question, no concern, no situation. You just need a moment to decompress and do something a little fun and silly at the end of the day. Okay? We also have dynamic interpretations. So you want to look at the motion the figure is making. So if you want to just focus on that, that is awesome. So you can look at the direction, also the speed of their movement. How quickly are they shifting, maybe from the north to the left or the north to the west? Is it a slow progression or are they moving really quick, like, oh, got a plan, this is the result? How fast are they moving? Okay. You can also look at interactions between relationships. So if there's maybe more than one figure in a card, this is a great practice. Or if you are someone who likes to have multiple cards and you notice, huh, these two figures in each one of these cards, they're looking at each other. What would they maybe say? How are they interacting? Is there interaction playful? Is it romantic? Is it maybe a little bit hostile? Is it inquisitive? What's going on? What are you picking up? Trust what comes to you. Okay. Now, for practical applications with touch, there is a texture analysis. So, what we mentioned earlier with that Two of Wands and being able to feel, is it sanded beautifully? Is it sturdy? Does it feel new, or does it feel kind of rough? Where we might need to go ahead and maybe maybe go back to the workshop and start pulling out some of our tools to get the results that we need. You can also incorporate temperature sensation. So if you are, let's say, pulling the sun card and you can feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, or if you pull the sun card and you're like, this feels rather cold, what is, maybe that's letting you know that a cycle is setting. Maybe you're maybe stifling a bit of the joy that you're entitled to. And then again, we also have our physical sensations in the card. So this can lean into the figures in the card, and it does touch back on that mental and physical exhaustion that we talked about as one of the correspondences for touch. So are our figures, do we feel comfortable? Is there any discomfort? Is there any tension or relaxation? If you're not sure how to do this, again, use your imagination. Put yourself in the position of maybe one of the knights, right? So let's maybe choose the Knight of Swords. Let's take a look at that card because he is the fastest moving. What would it be like to be in full armor, right? Riding a horse. Is that going to be a comfortable ride? Are we well adjusted to our armor, or does it feel a little bit weighted and heavy? Are we super hot? Are we cold? Are you sweating at all? Can you feel the breath inside of your helmet? Really start asking yourself these questions and really play with the environment, and any sensations that may be coming up. Okay. Again, so we do have tactile symbolism. So that can be handshakes, touches, caresses. And this, again, is that interaction between more than one figure, or it can even be just a singular interaction where maybe we are holding on to a cup, or maybe we can feel, again, the breeze on our skin. Okay. All right. So that actually will conclude our session for today. Again, my name is Tuckton Tarot. If you would like more information about my sensory sorcery class, I do also offer classes on court cards. I also have another way of reading reversals. I do offer private readings as well, and I do have a mentorship program that has recently started where we can either do tarot lessons, but I do also uh, specialize in spirituality and spell crafting, and that is a part of my mentorship program as well. I also run a meetup group for those who are tarot or divination enthusiasts, and every Saturday we have an empowerment tarot where we have a theme for the month, and then we have three questions that we have listed out for every week, and I will pull a card and we work together to read the tarot card, and we have a wonderful discussion, and we also have journal prompts, and it's fantastic. And then on Sundays, we have a tarot practice and social hour. So if you are looking for community where you can practice your tarot and you want to practice giving and receiving readings, you are more than welcome to join. And or if you are someone that is just curious and you don't have a tarot or oracle deck or a method of doing divination, but you would like to be able to sit in on readings and being able to ask questions and also make friends in the process, you are more than welcome to join that as well. And with the meetup group, we do have lots of guest speakers that are actually scheduled to present, and a few of them are actually a part of this market as well, and they will be sharing some of their specialties with us as well. I also have several social media platforms you can reach me on, and I do offer book tarot and spell crafting tool recommendations. All of those links and ways of getting in contact with me are there available in my QR code. Please feel free to scan it. It will take you to my link tree. Drop me an email. Check out my shop. Check out the book recommendations if you'd like to build your library, because I am a dirty, rotten enabler when it comes to education. So, if you all enjoyed this presentation, I do look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, I am Tucked in Tarot, and it has been a pleasure to teach you sensory sorcery today. You all enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.